What's up guys, Epoxy here, and today I'm bringing you guys another Destiny 2 video. And in today's video, I'll be talking about all the weapon changes that we know of that are coming in this upcoming season, including exotic weapons. As we all know, this season has been bombarded with players using aggressive submachine guns such as the Aqueous and the Immortal SMG. In an article posted by IGN, we see that Bungie is aware of the problem they have with their aggressive submachine guns, but they wanted to take an approach that still made the guns viable in PvP and didn't completely nerf them to the ground. So what they did is they are reducing both base and crit damage. This basically means that Bungie wants people who use aggressive submachine gun frames to have to work a little bit harder to get the fastest time to kill for their weapon, which I believe is a very smart change by Bungie, because it makes it so the submachine guns are still worth using if you want to try a little bit harder to get your kills, but it also makes them less overpowered to the point where other guns can't even compete with them. As we know, the Immortal has been very overpowered lately, like the whole last season. So even adding a little change to the weapon to make it a little harder to use will hopefully make the PvP scene a little bit more balanced again. Bungie has also let us know that they are aware of how absurd the range on the Immortal is, so they are deciding to reduce the base range value by 10 in this upcoming update. The main thing that I'm hoping comes of this Immortal nerf would be that it allows the variety of guns used in competitive game modes such as trials and obviously comp, so that everyone's not just using the Immortal and other guns get the chance to thrive and compete with each other. Because I don't know about you guys, but it's been very boring just hearing the Immortal gun sound effect over and over again, and that's the only thing people use because it's the most strong. Like, I miss using a lot of other weapons, but you're kind of forced to use the Immortal if you want to compete against good players and get the wins you want for your flawless or your comp rank. So I believe this is a good nerf they're adding to it. We'll see how it turns out, because obviously the season is just resetting today, but I hope it works out the way we all want it to. Another small improvement Bungie is bringing to sniper rifles is that they are increasing PvE damage by 10%. And I feel this is a good add-on because I feel like not that many people use snipers in PvE, so maybe this will increase the amount of people who decide to use them for like ad clear or something. But we'll see how it turns out, because who knows, maybe one day snipers are going to be on top for DPS, and maybe this change is going to bring something new that we haven't seen before. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Nah, I'm just playing. That ain't never going to happen. Bungie has also been updating reticles for certain types of weapons, such as fusion rifles, hand cannons, sidearms, and trace rifles, so that when you're at a higher field of view, the reticles will still function how they're supposed to. Another change that is being added is that hipfire reticles are now being updated for fusion rifles and swords. Fusion rifles will now have a charge meter under the reticle, and sword reticles will now show the current sword energy, which I think is very interesting, and honestly I feel like that's a good quality of life change for these weapons. The article also talks about how the Eyes of Tomorrow's exotic trait known as adaptive ordnance suggests that the rocket launcher would basically be able to kill a group of enemies. But the only problem is the amount of ammo the rocket launcher has doesn't really allow for that to happen. So now they're making it so every time you get 4 kills with the missile, it will refund 1 ammo. Which basically means that if you're in a situation where you're just doing crazy ad clear and there's hundreds of ads, you'll basically have unlimited rocket launcher ammo, and it'll be great for ad clear, which I think is a great buff to add to this weapon, because the Eyes of Tomorrow is such a underappreciated exotic, and now it kind of gives it some sort of use, hopefully. Another exotic weapon that is also being tweaked a little bit is a Graviton Lance, and Bungie decided that they wanted to be more like the Revision Zero's like heavy rounds 2 burst. So what they did was they increased the RPM from 257 to 300, and they reduced the burst delay by 20%, which now matches the Revision Zeros. They're also rebalancing the damage per shot. They increased the first shot damage from a body shot of being 9.5 up to 19 now, and a crit of 15.7 going up to 31.4. And they also decreased the second shot damage from a body shot being 35.6 now being at 25.6, and a crit being 58.7 to 42.3. The next exotic I wanted to dig into was the Jade Rabbit, which we all know is a very strong PvP scout rifle. And Bungie basically decided that they wanted 3 critical hits to now refund 3 shots instead of just 1. Basically making it feel like more of an exotic trait. I don't know, like they just wanted to make it feel more useful and like rewarding if you get critical hits on an enemy, because it kind of makes more sense now. because it feels more rewarding and makes like critical shots feel more worth it for the person using the weapon. Because getting 1 bullet back really isn't anything, but getting 3 bullets back can at least allow you to get another kill. So overall, I feel like this is a good buff to add to the Jade Rabbit because it makes the gun basically feel more rewarding for getting your headshots, and I think it'll make more people use the gun for sure. The next weapon I wanted to include in this video would be the Legend of Aqueous, which is a very hard-hitting shotgun. What Bungie decided to do was increase the total amount of ammo it has from 12 up to 16, and now its max projectile distance was changed from 9 meters to 12 meters, which is honestly a pretty significant difference, especially in like PvP scenarios. Like, I never see this gun in PvP too often, but I feel like it might make a come up with this buff. But we'll see. I don't know. The season just reset today, so I guess we'll see in the future how this weapon turns out to be with this new buff. The next exotic weapon I will be talking about is the bad Juju, which has been out of the spotlight for a while now. I rarely see people use it, and there's a lot of you may not know it actually had recoil issues. And they found out that it was actually set up to have auto rifle recoil instead of pulse rifle recoil, so it was very hard to control. So in this recent update, they're actually fixing that so the recoil pattern is now similar to other pulse rifles, which I feel will make people use it a lot more because how the recoil was before, I tried it and it was very difficult to use. That's why nobody really used it. Like, you saw it barely. So yeah, hopefully this fix makes more people go back to it, and maybe we'll see it more in like competitive game modes and everything. Next, I wanted to go into some of the bug fixes that are coming in Season 21. Moving on to the Fighting Lion, a lot of us know that it had like a damage issue where it was doing a lot of damage to like red bars. But Bungie has addressed this problem and has fixed it. But when it comes to exotic primary weapons getting a 40% damage bonus, that weapon still gets that. Moving on to the Thunderlord, we all know it's become very popular in this recent season. And they actually found out that it had a bug where instead of just doing 1 lightning strike with divinity bubbles, it was actually doing 2, which meant that it was doing a lot more critical damage than it was supposed to. So they fixed that in the recent change. So we'll have to kind of see how that changes like what people use for DPS at bosses. Like, we'll see if it's still viable or not compared to other weapons. And lastly, moving on to the Winter Bite, we all know it's had a bunch of problems, but in the patch notes they say that the exploitable damage bug has been fixed. They said that the impact damage has been removed and redistributed to the detonation damage, and the self-damage scaling has been tuned to account for the increased damage of the detonation. So basically with this fix, I'm guessing they're hoping the Winter Bite is less overpowered. I personally don't have Winter Bite, but I know everyone uses it because it's so strong. So hopefully this fixes the problem and makes the gun less broken, because I've heard so much about it. And yeah, hopefully this fixes it. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed. I just wanted to highlight some of the weapon changes that are coming in Season 21, some of the exotic weapon changes, and just some of the bugs that are being fixed. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this video was helpful. I didn't include everything in the video, but if you wanted to include something in the comments, let me know. Yeah, but feel free to leave a comment, leave a like, and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.